In this video series we are building a stripped back, fitting tribute to the Land Rover Defender, and you can follow along every step of the way. Hello Fun Rover TV fans, welcome back to week 2 of our Land Rover rebuild. We've got some news for you. Not a lot's happened in terms of the build. We've been a bit busy visiting Ireland, we've got some more trips and things planned coming up. But we haven't been stalling and stagnating. We've just launched a new design of our t-shirt. So in addition to the Back to the Future style Land Rover t-shirt, the Floors/Jaws one, we've got this new one, which is Defenders Assemble, in the style of the Avengers film series. Those have been proving pretty popular, so thank you for all your orders. And if you go about ordering one, it does help support the build, the video series, and our website in general. So following on from last week, the workshop has been tidied out. That wasn't too bad a job. A lot of old components that we stripped off were not usable. Big metal components have gone to the scrap merchants and the metal recycling plant, so that's good. Got a lot more room now, a lot more thinking space, which is nice. I'm going to talk about the specification for the rolling chassis, because we've just placed a very large order with LR Parts. They are working on it as we speak. It's a massive order, the most amount of products I've ever ordered in one single sitting, and they all have been selected by hand. We've gone through, we've picked out only products that are of either the same or better quality than the factory, but also ones that fit in with our mantra of doing it as good as, if not better than, Land Rover themselves have done. So we'll talk you through some of the stuff we've ordered, why we've ordered it, and the benefits and reasons behind why we're doing it. This is just for the rolling chassis stage, so obviously it's going to get us approximately, let's say, a third of the way through the build. We had a generic aftermarket company's suspension kits on before, we won't mention any names, and we've been a bit disappointed with them. They've been okay, however, they've not lasted very long in terms of the paint finish, powder coating applied to the external components, springs, shock absorbers, they've all kind of just rusted away basically. And so we've decided, okay, we don't want it to be lifted anymore, we want to go standard height, and so we're going to go for Old Man Emu shocks. The reason being is they're very well built, they have an excellent reputation, very, very well reviewed, highly thought of across the board, and these shock absorbers are designed to survive the rigours of Australian outback kind of travelling. So they're extremely tough. You can have a very heavily loaded up vehicle that will just run completely fine thanks to the Old Man Emu shock absorbers. Very tough, very well received. They're designed for those harsh conditions. They can travel on outback roads, very rutted, really rough roads for prolonged periods. That's what they're designed to do. And so we would like eventually to get overlanding and what have you in this vehicle, and so these really do fit in with our ideals. Because all other components fitted, such as the bump stops, spring retainers, nuts and bolts from the suspension, were all original components effectively. They were pretty rusty, pretty worn out and pretty rough, so we've scrapped them all and we'll be replacing all these fixings, all these fasteners with galvanised components, with new nuts and bolts and new fixings, new washers, whatever it needs, so that we're running effectively a brand new vehicle underneath, or as near as, reconditioned at least. We had Super Pro bushes fitted to the Land Rover before. They were absolutely superb. The difference after fitting those was night and day, so we're just going to keep those. They weren't very old when it came to stripping the vehicle down at the time. They'd only been on the vehicle a couple of months. They hadn't really covered many miles, so we should be able to reuse those. If not, we can replace the odd ones here and there for newer components, but the difference those made to the ride, to the steering, it felt a lot sharper as a vehicle, which as for a Land Rover is very good. And also you get benefits such as being able to replace them in the bush. Again, if we go overlanding, we want to be able to replace as much things as we can on the fly, not need bench presses and things. We won't need to burn them out, we can just press them out almost by hand and replace those in the bush, in the desert, wherever we happen to be. We will need to replace things like the wheel bearings, so we ordered a full set of wheel bearing kits. The TD5 has a non-adjustable setup. Well, it is adjustable with shims, but it's not very DIY friendly, and so we can actually kind of downgrade, almost retrofit the older 300, 200 TDI wheel bearing setups with the adjustable hub nuts, and so we'll fit those. That means, again, we're making it a much more DIY friendly vehicle, and it's just a little bit more simple as well. So in addition to that, the old components were starting to get worn out, so if we can do, we'll just put new components on. There's a bit of a family mantra in the Gribbin family: do it right, do it once. And so that's what we're sticking with and following along as we order components. Additionally, the swivel hubs and the housings for those, they need replacing. So all the seals around that area, we've ordered those. You can get those in kits. We'll be going for a OEM Timken and Koteko kit, as well as the wheel bearings. They'll be Timken because those are very high quality bearings. I believe those are what are fitted to Land Rovers from the factory, and so you're going to get the most longevity out of them. If you buy cheap components, generally you can say they're not as well built, they're not going to last as long. So we'll be going with genuine components wherever possible. The swivel housings have started to, the actual chalice has started to get corrosion on from where the hubs are turning. There's always an exposed part which doesn't get cleaned by the seals, and so that's started to corrode, which is quite normal. So we'll just swap them. We'll also be putting on some, I think it's a Britpart component, rubber swivel housing gaiters, and I've done a bit of research into them. They're supposed to prevent, obviously, grit, salt, water getting in there. They just fit underneath the washer on the back of the hub housing, so we'll see how they go. We've ordered some, we'll try them, see what we think. If it makes the vehicle last longer, then obviously that will be a good thing. New stub axles all around, and the gaskets for those, the bolts. The old ones, the two rear ones were replaced probably like a year ago, but might as well, as everything's stripped apart, it's much easier to replace things now, so we might as well do it, save ourselves a job further down the line. Following along from the Old Man Emu shock absorbers and springs will fit, we'll also be putting an Old Man Emu steering damper on. If you look at the bore of this steering damper compared to aftermarket ones, Land Rover ones, they are ridiculous. It's so much bigger because it's a heavy duty item. Obviously that means it's stronger, but apparently it offers more damping, and so that means if you're on a very rough, rutted farm track, off-road track or dirt road, it should help in absorbing the shocks through the steering that you normally get in the steering wheel, results in that kind of judder which tires you out, which can be a bit wearing and is just a pain. So it should help with that, and at the same time give you still good handling off-road. And if you've got larger tyres fitted, it should help with the return to centre, the natural return to centre of the steering. So we'll be fitting that. We'll do a full review and fitting guide of all that as we go about fitting that Old Man Emu steering damper, heavy duty one. We'll also be fitting heavy duty steering arms. Those are from Terra Firma. Terra Firma makes some good components and we're pretty big fans of their stuff. The steering arms are quite exposed, and so the idea of fitting more heavy duty ones is they can take maybe a ding, a bit of a bang, as opposed to the standard Land Rover factory ones. Hopefully meaning that if you did hit them out while you were off-roading, overlanding, they shouldn't get damaged. If your steering arm was to bend, it affects all the handling of the vehicle, tyre wear. It could be potentially a bit dangerous. So fitting a heavy duty one is advisable if you're going to do stuff like that. That can apply to anybody, not just off-roaders, but even someone using it as a farmer, a utility vehicle. They would all benefit from a heavy duty set of steering arms. It's got a 30mm diameter, it's solid steel. Also, it has greasable ends, which the Land Rover factory ones don't have. We'll also fit an accompanying matching Terra Firma Panhard rod. Basically, the adjustable Panhard rod helps with lateral stability. That's what the Panhard rod does. However, if you have a lift, then because the factory one is a fixed length, That can mess about with the geometry of the actual axle. It's pulled off centre. So we fit an adjustable one so we can change it and make sure that the setup is as Land Rover intended, therefore getting the best possible handling to counter that axle pulling out of line. Now, the Land Rover Heritage Special Edition vehicle we found a little bit disappointing. This is why we are building our own Tribute Edition, because quite frankly I think Land Rover could have done better. So, not a lot of the Heritage vehicle is worth copying. However, we do think Land Rover got it absolutely spot on with the fitting of Wolf rims. These look fantastic. They're so basic, they're so rugged, but they're also extremely strong. So that is why we'll be fitting those to our vehicle. We wanted the benefit of having factory wheels and tyres, because it makes the vehicle just look that little bit more genuine. That's what we're going for. Remember, as good as the factory. So yeah, fitting a factory standard wheel and tyre combination should give it a really high quality look. It also means that we've got a wheel that harps back to original kind of steel wheels, none of these fancy oversized alloy wheels, which we did have fitted previously. So the Wolf wheels are extremely strong. They can take 1250 kilograms per wheel, which for a 90 is overkill, absolutely. And the benefit of the simple construction is if you were to crack them through heavy off-roading or they were to become damaged, well, it has been known that people hit them with a hammer, bend them back in shape, you can weld them, you can do whatever you need to just to keep going. So that's one of the benefits of those, which, you know, could well happen. We're trying to think of everything that could possibly happen here. So those are going to be massively overrated for our vehicle, give us a nice margin of safety. I haven't quite decided on tyres yet. Like I said, the Goodyear MTR tyres that came with the Heritage look fantastic. The size of them was spot on, the kind of proportion for the design of the vehicle, but there's some other tyres that we want to investigate, so potentially we'll go with Goodyear. I've been a big fan of the Cooper STTs that I've had fitted to all my Defenders, but I'd like a bit of a change, maybe something that's a little bit more road biased. But we'll see how things go. I do really like the look of the Goodyear MTRs on those wheels. All the brake pipes need swapping. On the last MOT there was an advisory for this beginning of corrosion on our brake pipes. So I've been looking into options for that. I think we're just going to go basically with standard copper nickel brake pipes, which you can quite easily work with yourself, just using a bend tool and a flaring tool for the ends. And then apply a braiding over the top, so it looks very factory, it looks very clean, and it offers them a little bit more protection from salts and dirt, hopefully stop them corroding as quickly in the future. On the end of those brake pipes we'll put some stainless steel braided hoses. Those, people say it increases the braking pressure, but it's kind of up in the air really what they do, but it's agreed kind of across the board that they offer a more positive feel under braking on the pedal, so we're just kind of going more for a more positive brake pressure feel underfoot rather than any increased braking that they may provide. Those will be connected to a set of OEM brake calipers, and we're going to go upgrade the brakes from non-vented brakes to a vented caliper, which we can then fit EBC upgraded aftermarket vented drilled and slot brake discs, which will improve the brakes no end. It'll make them feel a lot stronger. There won't be any brake fade, which we have experienced in the past quite a lot, especially if you load it up going downhill, towing, things like that. So these are going to be a little bit overkill, performance brakes, and we will go vented all around. Obviously those will be mated with EBC brake pads. Not quite sure on the grade we're going to get. There's, I think, red, blue and green, all offering different braking characteristics, so we'll pick ones that suit. But altogether it should mean that our brakes are absolutely on the dot, which will be fantastic, because the brakes, in the past they've been alright, and if you keep your brakes maintained, they are obviously safe enough, but we want a little bit more from our Defender for our Tribute Edition, so this should give us really good performance. And obviously all the fixings there will be replaced, all the pad retainers, the clips, the springs, those will all be swapped out for brand new parts as a matter of course. Something else that I definitely want to do is stainless steel caliper pistons. In the last 3 or 4 years, because we don't do a lot of mileage in the Defender, but we use it every day, it's developed corrosion on the end of the caliper pistons. That happens because we're not really burning through brake pads at any great rate, so the ends of the caliper pistons are gradually more and more exposed. They're never fully retracted because the pad isn't thick enough anymore, and so that means eventually you either have to break the calipers apart, take the pistons out, replace them, or refinish them, which is a bit of a pain of a job, and I've had to do that several times. So we're going to put stainless steel ones in so they don't rust, so it doesn't matter if they're exposed to the elements. When you put new pads in, you'll be able to just push them back in, they'll fit nicely within the dirt seal and the inner seal, and then you can put your new pads in, and it should make them last a lot longer than they would do if they were just mild steel versions. So again, you can see how we're trying to think things through ahead of time, problems that we've had in the past, rectifying them, and so hopefully when we're done, this is going to be the best Defender that, well, we can possibly produce. So that's the list of components we've ordered. I know it's been a long video and it's a huge list of parts, so when's it all going to be fitted? Well, hopefully we're going to start getting videos out early September. So the final deadline for the vehicle, this is the crucial part, is January the 1st. It's a tall order, there's a lot of work to do. We want to get this out before Land Rover stop producing the Defender, well, in England anyway, and so we can offer a more fitting tribute, a timely tribute. So that's the plan, January the 1st, there or thereabouts. Hopefully a completed, finished, done tribute to the Land Rover Defender. I'm very excited about this. All the parts and stuff are kind of just ideal stuff that I've always wanted to buy and try out, so it's going to be interesting. Obviously we'll do reviews on all the products as we go along, and this time next week there won't be a video due to various reasons, but we'll be back in around 2 weeks uploading videos from this massive order that we've put in, so it's going to be very good, very exciting. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and as usual I've got to give a plug to our Patreon page. If you head on over there, patreon.com/funrover, you can, as I've mentioned, from as little as $15 per video, receive t-shirts of your choice, the Floors one, the Back to the Future one. We provide stickers. If you're a company, you can sponsor videos. So head on over to Patreon, see the rewards. Those really have helped with our build so far, and they will continue to do so because we can actually put those funds straight back into the build and produce whatever you our viewers actually want to see. So that's really exciting, and thank you very much to those who have already sponsored us. So thanks for watching, and remember, where we're going, we don't need roads. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Funrover TV. You can see our last episode here, and also check us out on funrover.com. We are at Funrover on Twitter and Instagram, and we're also on Facebook.